Well, each week, a group of insiders joins me to offer perspective on some of the week's top stories. This week, sounding off on Indiana colleges and universities really engaging in economic development. A tough year continues for farmers, and how is Andrew Luck? Question of the week. Joining me this week are Katz Corn Cunningham co-founding partner Norris Cunningham. Also, Short Strategy Group Chairman and CEO Frank T. Short. And Hathaway Strategies President Ann Hathaway. And welcome one and all to another edition of the Insiders.
Thank you.
Indiana's colleges and universities, and we are fortunate to have both on the public side and private side a lot of great universities. Frank, this week I think a good example of how they're engaging in a lot of different things from an economic development and otherwise standpoint. Purdue getting a first of its kind lab to study and examine and innovate when it comes to food safety around the world. They competed with other universities to get it. Purdue is going to host the lab along with Cornell University. Another feather in the cap for Purdue.
Well, I think it's an example of the kind of educational institutions we have in Indiana. They're always on the forefront, always working. I have to give credit to the president of Purdue. He's a very innovative thinker, and I'm sure he's worked on that, the other projects he's been working on. And I think it's, again, is another example of the kinds of things that Indiana is doing, the state schools, the 31 independent schools that we have here, to work on, to make the brain drain, the brain gain. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a shining example of that.
Yeah, another example of perhaps Indiana leading in the whole food feeding the world equation. Going down to Bloomington and IU, innovation there as well. IU Ventures really beginning to grow and attempting to connect entrepreneurs and innovators, and for that matter, professors at the school with IU alums and others who can help get products, get ideas, get innovation to the marketplace, which is what it's all about.
Well, it is, and it's going to take it outside of Indiana borders, across the country, and bring in alumni from across the country to work with these folks. I mean, to Frank's point, we've got really good things happening in Indiana, and as the governor says, we're taking the world to Indiana, or Indiana to the world, and the world to Indiana, and it's pretty exciting.
Yes. It is. I think that this the IU Ventures, one of the most unique things that I like about it is this opportunity that it gives for their professors to really take advantage of their own intellectual property and have an outlet for that in a way that increases their ability to get their name out there, to be known.
Which hasn't always been the case in Indiana. It's much better
correct.
now.
That's exactly right. It hasn't always been the case, and this is an opportunity for them to really get some recognition, some national recognition, some global recognition for a lot of their own intellectual property. It's a great thing.
Yeah, and we mentioned the state's private institutions. Franklin College with a huge initiative. They're about to launch the Pursuit, which is what they're calling the most comprehensive change and evolution, I guess, of their curriculum.
Yeah, I'm a fan of liberal arts. I'm a product of a liberal arts education myself, and to see Franklin College taking this huge step, really, I think dealing with one of the knocks against liberal arts education has always been its lack of relevance to experience-based learning, right? I mean, the idea that you sort of learn these esoteric concepts, but no real application to career development and professional development. And here they are coming up with a process and a strategy throughout the education of their students for giving them some experience-based learning, some information with regard to technology, having them work in actual settings on career development and professional development. That's a big step for a liberal arts college, and it really should be applauded.
Yeah, shifting gears a bit to the farm and the agriculture economy. In Indiana, a very wet spring, and in recent weeks in some areas very dry too, so the weather has been a real issue. The USDA came out with yield projections this week that were not positive. Aren't going to know for a few weeks exactly what happens, but a lot of concern on the farm. And Ann, you grew up in a rural area, a resident farm expert on the panel this week. Your take, because I think most people think it's going to be it's going to have a negative impact, but maybe not as bad as some.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. We had a rough spring. There was a hurry to get crops in the field when the weather finally turned. But it's really actually too early to know what the real impact is going to be. We're going to learn a lot as we get tractors or combines in the field to harvest. Obviously, we're concerned about the prices. When's the first frost going to happen? But it's really too early to know where we really are.
Yep, and we'll see. I call farmers the ultimate entrepreneur because they are out there really fighting it on their own. Speaking of water, communities around the state, Frank, are really beginning to embrace the water. The White River study, 52 miles from Hamilton County down to downtown Indianapolis, on what to do and how to take advantage of the White River. In Fort Wayne, they did Promenade Place, just had a christening of that redevelopment of the three rivers. I think that's part of a trend where folks are saying, hey, we can leverage and really embrace the river.
Yeah, I think one of the knocks we've always heard about Indiana, we don't have oceans, we don't have mountains, but we do have waterways. And in a lot of places like Fort Wayne, the new Promenade Plaza, South Bend, the East Race Waterway, the 52-mile, like you said, study of the White River, This living for these millennials is all about quality of place, quality of living, and that kind of feature, extra benefits, adds to it.
Yeah, and Norris, I know we were talking before we started here. The question is that business, that commercial, that economic development that can happen.
Right. You look at Fort Wayne and Promenade Place. I think it's a wonderful thing for that city, and you have to applaud all the steps that Fort Wayne is taking to really sort of compete. When it comes to being able to draw citizens and drawing economic development. But at the end of the day, things like Promenade Place, as great as it is as a public feature, the question becomes whether or not that's going to spur the kind of private development that's really going to take Fort Wayne to the next level.
Yeah. Going from water to air, more nonstop flights, and not just in Indianapolis. Indianapolis getting nonstops to Tucson and also West Palm Beach in Florida, but Fort Wayne and South Bend getting some seasonal nonstops as well. So air service, maybe it's a sign of the economy and those types of things, but continue to improve.
Continues to grow, and it's spurred by demand.
Yeah. And
I think this is exciting. And we've talked about this before. More flights in and out of Indiana means more people want to be here.
Yeah, and I know Fort Wayne and South Bend are really happy to begin to get more air service as well. And here in Indy, up over 50, I think, nonstops. It used to be the big knock. There are hardly no nonstops, but now
correct, and that's always a big deal. I've said before when I was here, my clients appreciate being able to take one plane to get here. Right. If they're coming here for any purpose to visit me or to conduct business, they want to make sure that they can get here and only have to take one plane. So the more nonstops we have, the better it's going to be for the city. That growth is tremendous for us.
Okay, we've only got a minute left. We have to talk about Andrew Luck. Everyone else is. No one knows what's going on. But Frank, what's your take? What do you see as how this plays out?
I think it'll be ready opening week. It's going to be a great season. The playoffs are coming. Get your tickets early. Let's go, Colts.
Okay.
All right.
And how important is it to have that the Colts be good and be exciting? Everybody likes a winner, but that has an impact on downtown,
it does.
The environment, the attitude.
It makes a big difference with regard to putting people in restaurants and bars, and you can always feel it in this city when the Colts, when the Pacers are doing well. It's really fun.
Yeah, there are a lot of medical experts out there I've been hearing from, or so-called medical experts. We'll see how that all plays out. Norris Cunningham, Ann Hathaway, Frank Short, thanks very much, and we'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thank you.